Aloha. These are the 10 steps that will lead up to Flat Earth going mainstream. From my perspective, from my channel, from what I've been doing, what I've been observing in the last few years of, conspiracy talks, information as a whole, but really focused around the Flat Earth phenomenon. So, number one, the fake news will start speaking in favor of Flat Earth. So the label, I've spoken on this in previous videos, the label of fake news was put out there to create instability within the mindset of the populace as a whole, to create this chaotic mentality out there, but also to maintain a sense of power by saying everything else is fake and we are real. So anything else, anything out there like the mainstream media, politics, the university system, these professors and so on and so forth, they are considered to be real. That is a power move to make everybody else seem fake. Who are the biggest fake mouthpieces out there right now? From my perspective, how it's being used is the President of the United States teaming up with Alex Jones, the InfoWars. Alex Jones is being mocked by the Colbert late night show. Donald Trump is teamed up with Alex Jones. They are the main focus, or they're the main focus for the idea of fake news. So everything else surrounding the idea of conspiracies and conspiracy theories, including Flat Earth, will be mocked and pushed to the side. So how I'm seeing it is that once people like Alex Jones and Donald Trump start speaking in favor of the Flat Earth, that's when things will start to kick into gear. And this is already happening when you have people like Eddie Bravo, who is best or good friends with Joe Rogan, being on InfoWars and speaking about Flat Earth openly many times. It's only a matter of time before that starts to activate and everything starts to come from that perspective. So it's only going to take a few people in that little circle to start that ball rolling, and it's just a matter of time. Number two, high-profile Flat Earth channels will be called upon to explain the basics. This is already happening with Eric Dubay, speaking with Eddie Bravo, who has close ties with Alex Jones, and Alex Jones having close ties with Donald Trump. It will expand even further once InfoWars and all of these other high-profile YouTube channels that are considered to be fake news start to address the Flat Earth topic. They will start to speak more with the loudest or most subscriber-based Flat Earth channels and only come at it from the basics, the bare minimum basics of what Flat Earth is. They will not really go into the depths of the psychological and the spiritual warfare of this whole system. It will stay at curvature math. It will stay at the horizon. It will stay at all of the other mainstream Flat Earth perspectives or clues that are out there, and it will not expand into deeper layers of NASA programming and so on and so forth. All that CGI will be spoken upon by other conspiracy channels and other those type channels, but in the beginning, these high-profile YouTube channels who are speaking to these high-profile Flat Earth channels will keep it very, very basic. Number three, high-profile YouTube channels will start questioning the globe. So this goes for all of your YouTube sensations, your comedy people, your Superwoman, your Jenna Marbles, your Liza Cozy, the high profile YouTube people that are out there that have a lot of followings will eventually start to be pushed by their subscriber base to speak more openly about these issues once it's accepted more out in the open. That's just a matter of time. You've already had a few YouTube channels that could be considered high profile that will start to do that. But then again, like I said, it will all be kept at the bare minimum. It'll be very basic, and it won't go any further than, in the beginning, it won't go any further than just the basic observations of the differences between flat Earth and the globe deception. Number 4, the mainstream media outlets will start feeling the heat and used Hollywood actors and TV shows to explain their version of the story. So, like I was saying, the storyline is where the power is. That's where the power is. How they present the story will determine what kind of change, what kind of stories need to get presented, and what kind of pieces will be moved around the chess game of your soul, your mind, and your body. If they keep it, or as they keep it from the perspective of the scientific perspective, scientific observations of the flat Earth, they will use their Hollywood actors and these TV shows like Ancient Aliens, History Channel, Discovery Channel, and even these Discovery YouTube channels, all the YouTube channels that are just carbon copies of the mainstream media. Bill Nye, Big Think, Neil deGrasse Tyson, all these people will be used once it is starting to be questioned. They'll be used to fight. You'll have actors, being called crazy because they're coming out in favor of the flat Earth. They'll be called crazy by people like Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson for a certain amount of time, for as long as they can hold up that space. And then once they can't hold it anymore, that's when people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye will come out and start speaking their version of the flat Earth story. And none of the criminal implications of NASA and so on and so forth will be spoken about, because that's how they maintain the power. Number 5. Conspiracy-focused channels will throw out claims as to who was responsible for the deception while labeling flat Earth as a psyop. This is already happening. Flat Earth is being labeled as a psyop. And these conspiracy channels are avoiding this topic, because some of them because of that, some of them because they haven't done the research. But just like these other like the YouTube sensations and other people who will eventually start to speak in favor for flat Earth, these conspiracy channels slowly but surely will start to speak more openly about it. At the same time, the controlled opposition conspiracy channels will amplify the instability, the chaos perspective by also saying flat Earth is a psyop, flat Earth is part of the new world order, new age agenda, which is part of what I'm saying too. At the same time, once it gets co-opted, it will be part of this unifying, and I'll get into this in a second. But the main point is that the instability, the lack of the ability to speak and think for yourself is the main key here with this information that is being shared, the information war, the truther, all this truther stuff out there. It's all about who's the loudest and who's telling the story from a perspective that is more like catchy and more edible to the masses, pretty much. So yeah, this is how both sides of the stories are going to get played. They're already being played like this right now. This is, everything gets demonized in the beginning, then it gets accepted later on. What I'm doing when in this channel, when I share information as to how flat earth will be co-opted, is helping people see that yes, flat earth is something that needs to be expanded upon, but not to be so, don't be closed off to the very fact that the system itself already knows about this. It's very aware of flat earth. It's very aware of how this information is being distributed. It's very aware of the consciousness of the people and how it can manipulate people a certain way to think and act a certain way. So the conspiracy channels will throw out claims as to who is responsible for the lies, while the mainstream media labels everything as fake news. Yeah, everything will be labeled as fake news in order to maintain control. Number 6. The mainstream outlets like Ancient Aliens will continue to push the Anunnaki story while activating the alien agenda. So simultaneously, they will be releasing this information about the Anunnaki on Ancient Aliens and other mainstream media type outlets. The Anunnaki Planet X storyline is already heavy duty in the conspiracy world, heavy duty in the Ancient Aliens mainstream media storyline, the alien agenda, and more recently, how this is locked into the relationship between Flat Earth and the New Age with individuals like Michael Tellinger, who are heavily locked into the New Age mentality with people like David Icke and Corey Goode, and him recently coming out in favor of Flat Earth, and his whole story base is based upon the Anunnaki storyline. So all of these perspectives, all they need to do is just be adopted by the History Channel and whatever else is mainstream, and then people will start to believe in it. So that's how I'm seeing what will be the next activation point for not only the New Age alien agenda, but the mainstream alien agenda. Number 7. The New Age community will follow suit with the alien agenda and will eventually adopt the Flat Earth model. So right now, the New Age community is avoiding the Flat Earth model because it destroys the heliocentric universe that the alien agenda is based in within the New Age community. So even entertaining a new universal perspective will inherently cut the legs out of everything that they believe in within the New Age community. So once the mainstream media starts to adopt the Flat Earth model, or even like conspiracy channels and even fake news channels start to speak, so-called fake news channels start to speak in reference to the Flat Earth, that's when the followers of the New Age community will start to adopt it and tell the story, the Flat Earth story, from their love and light perspective and the alien agenda perspective, and so on and so forth. This is how that whole community works. It's not about making empowered moves from researching and empowering yourself from the ancestral perspectives of the roots of having connections with not only your New Age community, but people that are across the earth plane. They utilize stuff like unity and oneness and love and light and all that stuff to project this sort of perspective that is of a higher consciousness, but it's still limited to the slave mind and whatever the mainstream media is telling you is your reality. So the Anunnaki story is already being accepted and amplified within the New Age community. Once the television starts to talk about it, that'll just add credibility to whatever it is that they've already been believing in the New Age community. And then they'll just follow along with the flat earth and expand it from that perspective. So you'll have people like Oprah, who's already on the outskirts. She's one of the main pushers of the New Age, the mainstream New Age community, because there's like no less than two versions of the New Age community. There's the Oprah, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins sort of New Age perspective, and then you have the alien agenda New Age community perspective that is with people like David Icke and Greg Braden and all these other people who speak about positive information and sort of higher thinking, more connected thinking, but that's as far as it goes. It just stops there. It's not about empowering the people and addressing the authority figures. It's about adjusting to whatever the authority figures say is going to be your next experience. So yeah, the New Age community they'll just follow suit and be happy that the alien agenda is being accepted, even if they're only talking about the Anunnaki. This is already happening with ancient aliens and so on and so forth. And this will actually set the tone for the next step, which is number 8. The mainstream media will then start telling the Anunnaki villain story as truth. So this will give more power to the New Age perspective. The mainstream New Age community will start to merge more closely with the outside New Age communities and rally around the villain, like the Illuminati, like the Cabal, but now zero it in more with an actual name like the Anunnaki. And then they'll bring in like the good Anunnaki and the bad Anunnaki. The main thing that comes out is that you are being told what your reality is, and you're being told what your truth is really about. Once this New Age perspective gets amplified with the flat earth kicker just underneath everything, that will set the tone for the new world order, the New Age order, this new world religion, and it will all be sold to the masses with this fake belief that this new world is beneficial for you, because it's all about unity and oneness and love and light and compassion, and the rally point around these villains who now have a name, who are already being called the Cabal, the Illuminati. And what I'm seeing now is they'll be even more focused in on the Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki will be the villains of the future that the New World or New Age order can rally around to create this sort of unifying concept of real change. Number 9. New maps and explorations of the flat earth will be celebrated and unifying. So all of the now that everything is cleared out, now we know who the bad guys are. You'll have these good guys out there now, these superheroes. So once the whole info war of the information war of fake news versus real news gets washed out, you'll need to distract people and rally people around. Now that you have a villain, now you just have to defeat that villain. So it's the same thing with like world wars. You got Hitler out there for the rally point to, unify the new world against the new democratic world, the new capitalistic world against communism. Same thing happened with Russia in the 80s. Same things happened with Russia in the late 60s with the so-called space race. What's happening now with the terrorism? This is to destroy. Now what's being destroyed is the idea of mainstream religions to set the tone for a one world religion that's based in probably mostly technology, computer-based simulation interpretation of this reality, and whatever is coming out of the scientism community or the university systems. But that will be happening in the sort of closed doors and be leaked out every now and again. But since flat earth is such a huge thing, once it becomes mainstream, people will need toys. They'll need some kind of celebratory, binky to, hold on to, or, just go on with their lives by still believing in the slave master program. So that program will distribute these new maps and set out these, just like they're talking about going to Mars, just like they were saying going to the moon. These are all doggy treats. This is just another version of the bread and circus. SpaceX is just a technologically rocket-based bread in the circus of heliocentrism. So the new bread will be these explorations of the flat earth realm, and the circus will just be the fact that the mainstream story or the mainstream powerhouse is still out there selling you this program, selling you this agenda. Number 10. A flat earth renaissance will be welcomed as real change, and westernization will attempt to evolve on a flat earth. So all these maps and all these explorations that will come about, that will be, all these videos and all this stuff that's going to come about, going and exploring the Arctic lands, and exploring Antarctica, and exploring what the dome might be, or exploring what the stars might be, or exploring what the sun is and what the moon is, and exploring what eclipses are, exploring what, the basic scientific observation. Just like NASA only gives you that. They won't tell you any kind of stories of the human relationship between the human, the conscious and the subconscious reality, the human relationship. All of this will be a distraction to keep you from questioning the individuals who are still the same people who lied to you in the first place. There's the same people. They have to sell you something so you don't, eat the rich, pretty much, so you don't challenge the system. They gotta make you believe in it. So a little bit of truth has to be mixed in with the larger lie. So flat earth conversations are just, sitting up there waiting for them to mix in with all the other lies that are being shared. And it's just a matter of time before that stuff gets shared. And like I said earlier in the video, it's about the information itself, how it's being delivered to you. They're giving you your truth. They're giving you your idea of real change. And it's the way you believe in it that makes all of the difference, because you give your power away to people who create your reality for you if you do not critically think, have discernment, or challenge yourself to challenge authority as a whole. So like I said, when they focus on stuff like simulation theory, or the scientism focus of this realm, or the curvature math, and or the flat versus globe, all of this stuff will be to keep people from holding the system itself accountable for lying to people and taking advantage of generations upon generations of people for so long. And you'll have people who are so indoctrinated into the system, they will just follow along with whatever their YouTube sensations, whatever their actors, whatever their professors in the university system, whatever the politics, whatever the news tells them is real and tells them how they should think about this reality. And ultimately, since the old sort of mind frame of consciousness was centered around war and destruction, the so-called new version of control will be centered around love, peace, light, and unity, which is how I'm seeing the New Age community being activated along with the new world order and this new world religion and this new world frame of thought. Given that when Flat Earth gets co-opted, it will just be a new world. Literally, it'll be a new world. So that's how they can welcome in this idea of a new world. Probably change something with the currency, move over to something like Bitcoin or something like that, but keep all of the same old programs as the same thing. All of the hoarding of energy, hoarding of information, and keeping people distracted. That's the main purpose. None of the indigenous and the aboriginal stories will ever be really addressed to the depths of how they existed back in the day and how they're still existing right now. And everything will be focused on technology. Everything will be focused on the technological or the simulation theory, the quantum interpretation of this reality. Everything will be focused on how the university system is deciphering or determining what this place actually is, and they can spread that storyline out for years. We're still researching this. We sent explorations here. Something went wrong. Ooh, we have to send another exploration. They recovered this. Oh, this is seen this way, and same story, different day. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with this video. It was just these steps that I've been observing that have already largely been activated. They just haven't been completely accepted or activated in the mainstream media. Excuse me, all at the same time. So I'll leave it there. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.